That's a good boy. That's a good boy. Oh, hello there, and welcome back to another episode of Farmer George. On today's episode, Bruce and I are going to show you how to prune your peppers using my favorite method, and that method is called the F.I.M method. And what F.I.M stands for is fudge I missed. It means something else, but I want to keep it kid-friendly on this channel, so we're going to go with fudge I missed. And basically, what we do is you're going to trim back your plant and then you're going to cut off a couple of leaves. It's going to feel like you're killing the plant, and you're probably going to be really apprehensive at first if you haven't done this before, but trust me, at the end of the video you're going to see my 2-week progression of my plants, and they look great. So the reason you want to prune is you want stronger, sturdier plants, and doing this forces the plants to bush out and put all the energy into the bottom. So you're going to get a more stable plant. It'll be able to withstand the wind, so you don't really have to worry about staking too much. And then because it's so bushy, you're going to get way more peppers because you're going to get way more flowers on your plant. So those are the reasons I F.I.M my plants, and let's go see how it's done. Before they start to get any bigger, I want to F.I.M these plants. I like to F.I.M the plants when they're about their fourth or just about starting their fourth set of pear leaves. So you'll see, not including the original leaves that they start with, but you got one here, you got one here, then you got another one there, and then 4, and then they just start to grow, haphazardly. But if we look at this plant, you have these 2 right here, then you have these 2 right here, and then it grew haphazardly or kind of in 3s up top. So you got 3, the 3rd level, and then you got one more, the 4th level right there. So with this method, instead of just taking a clean cut like right there and making a straight mark, the person who created this method, I don't know who did, they basically were trying to top their, well, I believe it was a marijuana plant, but these are pepper plants, and it works the same way. They were trying to top their marijuana plant, and they, instead of doing a nice clean cut like it is in normal topping tradition, they went a little above and they cut at the leaves right there, and that didn't damage the plant as much, so the plant was still able to grow out of the top as well as the sides. So let me show you these side shoots here. You see the little green pieces inside the corners, right where the larger leaves meet the stem? Those are side shoots, and they're just ready to take off. And when you top your pepper plants, it stops the plant from putting all the energy into growing upwards toward the light, but rather putting energy towards these little green side shoots. And if you want a bushier, thicker plant, which will in turn produce way more fruit in the long run, taking this small step to prune your peppers using the F.I.M method really goes a long way. So in true F.I.M fashion, I'm going to take my scissors here and one-handedly, just haphazardly cut off the top. And then you see you're not left with a clean cut. You still have the little bit of leaves hanging off there, but this will really make the other side shoots come to life and start to sprout outwards. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take a couple of the leaves off the plant. I'm going to take those ones off. I'm going to leave these 2 true leaves on there, and I'm going to also leave the 2 the sprouting leaves, as I call them. I don't really know the exact names, but these 2 tiny leaves were the ones that initially sprouted, and these 2 are true leaves. They're the ones that you'll see on all your pepper plants. I'll leave these 2 there so they can collect the light from the grow lights, and they'll be able to produce chlorophyll through photosynthesis, and then push these side shoots out so that the plant will bush out further. And I'm going to repeat the same step on this plant, and then I'm going to leave this plant until it gets another set of leaves up top and gets a little bit taller, because this one's struggling a tiny bit. So we will check back in a couple weeks and I'll show you the progress. That'll really help bush these plants out and hopefully start producing flowers as quickly as possible. Alrighty, it's been a week since we've topped plants 1 and 3. So plant 3 is on the right and plant 1 is on the left. And then if we go over here to plant number 2, I just topped this one, I want to say maybe 2 days ago. It's got some little green side shoots coming out of there. You can see them right at the bottom and then a little bit to the left. We go over here. This one was struggling a lot because I think the root system wasn't as robust as the other two. And if we go back over to plants 1 and 3, you can see a lot of growth. So this one especially. So I just wanted to give you an update after 1 week of being FIMmed. So we'll check back in another week and I'll show you the progress then. Okay, it's January 24th and it's only a week and 4 days since I FIMmed these plants. I FIMmed this plant number 2 after the other plants. So that's why it's taken a little bit longer. But you can see all the side shoots coming out of the side right here. And it's really starting to take off. So if we go to plant number 1, you can see this one's doing really well. We got a ton of growth here, and it's really bushing out from the sides. And these top leaves, the ones that were snipped, are even coming back. And finally, plant number 3. This is the front runner in the race to bearing fruit, because you see that little bud right there? Right there, there's a little bud. Another thing to note is all of these leaves right here are all kind of coming back. They were pretty, they were damaged, they were chopped in half, but because I didn't top it, there's side shoots growing off of that stem. The leaves are growing back, and we even have a bud where if I were to have topped this plant, it wouldn't have started there. So what I want to do today is I want to FIM here and here, and I want to see if I can get more energy towards that little bud right there, as well as more energy to these middle section side shoots right there. So I want to cut these off and really have this one bush off. And then I'm going to leave the other ones the way they are. This one looks very, very nice, very bushy. And then this one is still catching up, still trying. Still trying, the little engine that could. But take a look at the root system. It's pretty nice. You see the furry ones up top? Those are the ones that collect the air for the roots. And then you got a long root system all the way down to the bottom. So this one's doing well. And I'm sure the other root systems are doing even better, because these two are healthier plants. So I'm going to chop these 2 off. I just wanted to show you before I did, because I didn't want to make any alterations before I showed them on the video. So we'll check back and conclude this FIMming episode in about 3 days after it's been a total of 2 weeks. Alright everybody, so it's been exactly 2 weeks and 1 day. This is the final update of this video, and as you can see, we have the 3 plants right here, number 2, 1, and 3. And last video I FIMmed these 2 upper parts right here, these 2 leaves, and I wanted some more growth out of the middle right there. So we have a little bit more growth coming out of the sides, and then I have that one little bud there, but then behind it is another little bud. And then you can't really see them on the video, but there's buds in there's one bud in this node, at this node of these leaves, and then another bud at this node in between those leaves. This is one of the original F.I.M leaves, and it's getting pretty big. That'll happen with these leaves as well. Although they're injured, it does less damage to the plant, like I mentioned before, compared to topping your plants. Overall, your plant will recover better than from topping. And it's really bushing out from the bottom. We're getting a nice little shoot right there. Plant number 1 is just all around bushy plant. Not really seeing any buds just yet that I can make out. But yeah, it's looking pretty strong. And then plant number 2, finally, you know, starting to take off there. It's got some growth, some new growth, all those little leaves right there. And that one, you know, I've said previously that it's just the roots are a little bit smaller and it's taking a little bit longer to catch up with the other two. So yeah, this is it. I hope you enjoyed it. Let's go sign off. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned something new today. If you haven't trimmed your plants before or pruned your plants, I highly recommend it. It's a great step. Start your plants inside so you don't set them back too much for the summer, and then they can just explode when you transplant them outside. And hit this little pepper logo up here. That'll subscribe you to my channel. When you subscribe, you'll get notifications when I post videos. I do things like taste tests, show you recipes, and anything and everything when it comes to peppers pretty much. Isn't that right, Bruce? So thanks again for watching the video. Thanks for the likes, the comments, and the subscriptions. As always, let's share and grow together. I'm Farmer George, and this is Bruce. We'll see you next time.